is Jenny Fulton. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Clear Creek County Sheriff's Office. We appreciate everybody coming out this morning to hear about the incident that occurred on Tuesday. I'd encourage media to take one of our maps. I will also email them out afterwards, and also to please sign in. Sheriff Matt Harris is going to be speaking this morning, and joining him are Under Sheriff Matt Brown, Idaho Springs Police Chief Nate Busick, Clear Creek Patrol Captain Eric Rubin, and Clear Creek Investigations Sergeant Joe Beerley. After Sheriff Harris speaks, we will open the floor to question and answers. I'll turn it over to Sheriff Harris.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. Yesterday, Chief Busick, Under Sheriff Brown, myself, and our command staff had a chance to compile the facts and review the dash cam footage of what happened on Tuesday, October 14th. And after taking the time to collect all the facts and review the footage, I'm going to do my best to summarize what we know. On Tuesday, Stephen Ainsworth was traveling westbound on Highway 6, near Tunnel 6, when his vehicle was struck head-on, traveling eastbound. As a result of the crash, Mr. Ainsworth was airlifted in critical condition and taken to Denver Hospital. Unfortunately, he did not survive. In this incident, he was an innocent bystander and did not deserve to die. On behalf of Clear Creek County Sheriff's Office, we share our condolences with Mr. Ainsworth's family, his friends, and loved ones. The suspect, Christopher Moore, also died in the crash. Two families have experienced the loss of a loved one, and both families are suffering, and we extend condolences to the Moore's family as well. The Sheriff's Office and Idaho Springs PD attempted to prevent a tragedy like this. I'm going to take this time to walk through the actions we took to apprehend the subject without injuries to others. It is important to note that the suspect was considered armed. In addition to being suspected of trespassing 7 vehicles in Clear Creek County overnight Monday into Tuesday, he's suspected of trespassing more than 30 other vehicles in 4 other counties. He also had a stolen firearm that was stolen from one of the trespass vehicles. He was also on parole at the time this offense occurred. Mr. Moore has a history of total disregard for the laws designed to protect our citizens and our children and to keep our communities safe. Due to the plethora of traffic and criminal violations as well, his driver's license was previously revoked. His arrests over the last 15 years include robbery, sexual assault of a child, numerous failures to register as a sex offender, assaults. Even in prison, he didn't follow the laws as he introduced contraband into prison. Escape, weapons offenses, and eluding police. Time and time again, criminal episodes were lumped together into minimal offense convictions or pleas. Felonies were pled down to misdemeanors and time-served sentences. Moore continued to victimize citizens and terrorize roads and communities because the legal system allowed it. Criminal episodes continue year after year as a suspect failed to register as a sex offender in our community. Before I move on, this is his rap sheet. Many, many, many arrests year in, year out. When we learned the suspect was on Highway 40 in the area of Floyd Hill, we requested Idaho Springs to assist to help us locate the suspect vehicle. ISPD staged on Highway 40 and Highway 6, then followed the suspect westbound when he turned onto Highway 6. The suspect pulled off the left shoulder, and ISPD attempted to initiate a traffic stop. Without stopping, the suspect drove back onto Highway 6 west. At I-70, the vehicle entered the I-70 east ramp in the wrong direction. The vehicle was now going west in the eastbound lanes. ISPD did not follow, and we did not pursue. So it's important to note that the pursuit stopped at that time. There was no pursuit going on to the freeway, as the freeway was previously closed because of the rock scaling. The suspect then, after driving down the wrong way, turned around, and now was heading back eastbound on I-70. Our deputy prepared to deploy stop sticks on I-70 East and the Highway 6 exit ramp. The suspect was traveling at a significant rate of speed in the center lane. He made a decision to go into the exit lane and exited the Highway 6 exit ramp at a high rate of speed. There he saw Clear Creek County Sheriff's deputies and ISPD on the ramp, and he made a deliberate and attempted act to drive the vehicle into law enforcement, including a deputy who was standing outside of his vehicle. He narrowly missed our deputy and the patrol vehicles, but he did strike stop sticks, and he drove onto the exit ramp. Based on the driver's actions, ISPD initiated pursuit due to several factors. Factor one, the suspect being an imminent and substantial danger to the public and law enforcement. Factor two, he was driving the wrong way on the interstate. Factor three, he intentionally drove his vehicle at a high rate of speed towards an unprotected deputy and marked patrol vehicles with lights and sirens. And factor four, he was considered to be armed and dangerous, and with firearms and ammunition that were stolen out of a vehicle. This pursuit began at approximately mile marker 257 on Highway 6 East. During the pursuit, the suspect lost his tire tread due to the successful stop of the stick deployment. At mile marker 259, the suspect vehicle crossed the center line and crashed head-on into Mr. Ainsworth's vehicle traveling westbound. Mr. Ainsworth was extricated and airlifted to a metro hospital. The female passenger in the suspect vehicle was transported by ambulance. We do not have an update on her condition. When the suspect vehicle traveled westbound in the eastbound lanes on 70, he put motorists at risk. He threatened our deputy's life when he drove towards our deputy and two occupied patrol vehicles at high rates of speed. His actions indicated a conscious disregard for human life and the law, and we tried to stop him before he hurt someone. Unfortunately, we were unable to do so, and the outcome was tragic. The suspect's driving actions were the cause of this fatal accident. Colorado State Patrol is handling the crash investigation, and we're going to conduct an internal review to ensure our deputies complied with policy, and ISPD will be doing the same. Clear Creek County detectives, in conjunction with Summit County and other jurisdictions, are investigating the crimes the suspect is believed to have committed. Lastly, I want to extend our appreciation and gratitude to the agencies that quickly responded to the crash. There are too many to list, but they include Clear Creek, Gilpin, Jefferson County, public safety agencies, Colorado State Patrol, Flight for Life, and more. And collectively, we wish the outcome would have been different. We'll take your questions now.
Sheriff, can you clarify one thing for me? Was it deputies and officers with Idaho Springs Police Department that engaged in the pursuit?
Yes, so the initial traffic stop was conducted by ISPD. That vehicle took off, went the wrong way on the freeway. ISPD stopped the pursuit. Clear Creek County is in a secondary and a tertiary position, but ISPD is leading that pursuit. On the second pursuit, right, when he because we terminated that pursuit. Then when he comes back off the freeway, almost runs over our deputies and the ISPD officers, he comes through that exit ramp. ISPD was car number one on that pursuit.
So then, Chief, can you tell us when your officers engage and disengage in those pursuits?
I think it's right here, isn't it? Is it this guy?
Yes, sorry. You have another one?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know where it was.
Every pursuit is its own unique situation. And certainly when we were requested by the sheriff's office and to potentially find this person, our officers stepped up to that. They engaged in the initial pursuit, and they terminated that when the suspect went the wrong way on the highway. I mean, think of the innocent motorists that are on a highway and not expecting somebody driving at them. So they terminated that. Once the person came back at a high rate of speed and had open highway in front of them and chose to leave the highway at the exit where there's emergency vehicles, drive directly towards a deputy that's standing there and trying with spike strips and at officers, that the risk level was high for the general public. And so policy at this point, we're going to review that, but it appears that it was followed as far as the imminent risk to the public.
Was the deputy that he drove toward on I-70 near exit, or sorry, excuse me, deputy that he drove at on I-70 near exit 6 or getting off of Highway 6, was he deploying stop sticks at that time?
Yes, so on Highway 6, the deputy was deploying the stop sticks. We made the decision it was safer to the community to keep the subject on the freeway. Why? Because the freeway was closed, because of rock scaling. And so knowing that if he were to get off the freeway and continue at that high rate of speed and go into that canyon, it could have been catastrophic, and it was.
Sheriff, while you're up there, I feel like a large portion of the reason we're having this conversation is because the public wants to know, obviously, whenever we're doing pursuits, there is a scale, a weighing, a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, choices were made. Obviously, you've already said, this did not go the way we wanted it to because we've had innocent life taken. But that's the thing, is it's a choice that doesn't always pan out successfully. It is a choice that is made to prevent additional damage. Can you speak to, I don't want to call it the sucky, but can you speak to the unfortunate nature of having these hard choices that don't always pan out the way we want them to, but sometimes it's still the best choice that you can make?
This is tough, right? Because we are trying to protect public safety, right? And that's, we rewrote our vehicle policy over a year ago, and we'll revisit it again. But those are decisions that are made at time and place. But our deputies and ISPD, they know their policies, they know their procedures, they know what we could do legally, and what we can't do. And we were legally justified in pursuing the vehicle. It's important to note, right, that ISPD, in the initial pursuit, they said, you know what, we're going to call it off because it's not safe and because it didn't comport to policy, right? The secondary pursuit certainly comported to policy. Doesn't mean that we'll always, we will always in this business Monday morning quarterback, and we will always look at ways to do things better. That's something that we have said since the minute I walked in this office 2 years ago. We're going to look at our policies, we're going to look at our procedures, we're going to look at the way we handle things, and we're going to try to get better every single day. And this is something that we're going to look at. But it's an unfortunate circumstance. But the bottom line is the suspect and his background and his total disregard for human life and disregard for our deputies put himself and everybody else at danger.
Sheriff, off of that, I was just gonna ask, you're showing some frustration when you're holding up his rap sheet, like a person like this out on parole. What kind of changes do you think need to be made within the justice system to make sure someone like this stays behind bars?
I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I've done this all around the country, in different states, different communities, and it's the same, right? This is a failed judicial system where somebody with a criminal rap sheet like this and be on parole, not have his parole revoked. I mean, it's frustrating in this business to continue arresting people day in and day out. Jail is a revolving door. We can't incarcerate our way out of this problem, but there are small members of our community that will not comport to social standards, and he was clearly one of them.
Sheriff, I know your time's kind of coming up with the sheriff's office here.
Sure.
How do you make sure that a review of these policies then sticks around once you're gone?
We have a great command staff. We have the right people in the right places. I mean, we hired a new patrol captain, a new director of our administration who goes through our policies and procedures. We contracted with Lexipol. So policies and procedure review is a regular course of our business and a regular course of what we're doing. And enhancing training has been a regular course of what we've been trying to improve. So just because I'm leaving, the foundation is here and the foundation is set. And I'm really confident we're going to continue moving forward.
Sure. While I'm asking the same question, I'm going to move this down just a hair. When we're talking about the difference between the initial stop that we called off and then coming back on, I mean, he's had the same rap sheet between those two moments. What is the difference between the second pursuit and the first pursuit that became necessary to actually take it on?
Well, the first pursuit, right, is a traffic stop for a trespassing, a suspect in trespassing offenses, right? And so it doesn't comport to our policy to pursue for that particular issue. when if this pursuit comes back the other way and it's escalated, he's going at a high rate of speed and has a conscious disregard for the community, for law enforcement, almost runs over one of our deputies, then that moment in time is escalated to where our pursuit policy would have kicked in.
So at the scene of the crash, was there any effort made to stop oncoming traffic or close that lane?
Well, yeah, at that time, he's traveling at a high rate of speed with his tire almost falling off. We would have closed, we just didn't have time. This was in a very, from the original part of the traffic stop, the attempted traffic stop with ISPD, to when the accident occurred, I think it was 7.5 minutes roughly. It's a very short period of time. And only from when that vehicle exited back off the freeway after it was going the wrong way and onto Highway 6, I think 90 seconds. Yeah.
Do you have a policy for pursuing vehicles that have damage due to stop sticks?
Eric, do you want to answer that? Sure. Captain Rubin?
I'm sorry, when you get there, can you say and spell your full name for us?
Oh, Eric, E-R-I-C, last name Rubin, R-U-B-I-N.
Thank you.
We do have a policy regarding an attempt to use stop sticks, but the stop sticks are intended to slow a vehicle down. The idea is here we make the pursuit itself or the attempt to apprehend the person a safer proposition, but there is no such thing as, even a vehicle that's slowed down due to stop sticks, they still can't present some hazard. It's an attempt to mitigate the risk is really what it comes down to.
Does your pursuit policy take into account the structure of Highway 6, a really winding road?
The pursuit policy talks about weather conditions, traffic conditions, road conditions, and so forth. All of these factors are always being considered by deputies and officers who are involved in a pursuit, as well as supervisors who are overhearing the pursuit. Do we have one specific to that highway? No, we don't. We have one that talks about general road conditions, weather, and so forth that we have to, or we may be encountering during the duration of a pursuit.
I feel like it's interesting that you guys deal with this particular canyon and this particular kind of situation where a lot of law enforcement doesn't have a tunnel, basically. It's one road, not a lot of off-roads, and you basically are playing within one interstate section. Does that play into either your experience or the way that you tackle these compared to the way that a normal law enforcement agency, say in the middle of downtown Denver, would take this on?
Under Sheriff Matt Brown. That's a great question. So I think if what you look at with the Idaho Springs officer and our deputy that was trying to shut down the access to that canyon, the goal was to do exactly that because of the one-lane road. With oncoming traffic, we had construction for the I-70 project going on in that area. So the decision was made to keep that off-ramp closed and to tour that suspect onto 70 because of the location, because of the construction work, and because of the road itself.
Just basically looking for a spot where there are not cars at that time so they don't run into them.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we have an earliest known, I know that we mentioned there were a series of burglaries over the last 2 weeks, but I think you mentioned that there were, 30 car break-ins between Clear Creek and other mountain municipalities. Do we know the earliest known, I guess, since he's been out on parole, that he burglarized a car? Or broke into a car, I'm sorry.
As for the summit and everything on that side of the Continental Divide, I know it was in the last 2 weeks. I don't have the specific first date that he did.
And we know at least, I think you said 7 of those happened Monday night?
I want to say it was like between 4 and 4:30. We had him on video at the Microtel in Georgetown on Tuesday morning.
And he was breaking into cars then?
Yes.
Is he from the area? Where's he from?
I think he was born in Texas, but I don't know how long he's lived here.
Summit County.
Yeah, thank you. He was a Summit County resident.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have the first date he was arrested when he moved to Summit County?
I would be in his criminal history.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was any other sort of surveillance done on him? I mean, you were using surveillance video from the Microtel on Monday, but was there any sort of surveillance done on him before that?
That's Summit County and Eagle County. I don't know the extent of their investigations.
How was his initial location near Floyd Hill discovered?
I got a phone call from a sergeant at Summit who was tracking him through a GPS. And honestly, at first I thought it was a GPS that he stole, but it turns out it was a parole GPS tracking monitor.
And do we know the relationship between that 27-year-old woman in the suspect vehicle and the suspect?
I don't.
So just to clarify, he had an ankle monitor?
Yes.
So the car he was driving wasn't stolen?
It's my understanding that they entered a contract to buy it, got the car, but then never paid anything off. That Summit knows all that.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, right, that you're talking about many jurisdictions,
Yeah.
you know, Summit, and so even, you know, very early, before the break-ins, you know, when the break-ins happened, and it was announced, I mean, Summit, Vale, some other municipalities over there reached out to us saying, hey, this meets the criteria. So we don't have all the facts of what, you know, what they were investigating on the other side of the tunnel, but we're trying to collaborate, and that's something we're gonna figure out.
Sheriff, last thing for me
Sure.
is gonna be, I mean, we started this press conference having a conversation about men who ended up dead after this for no reason,
Mhm.
happened to be there. Can you talk to me about the importance of starting with the conversation surrounding that person's life compared to getting into the thick of this, other situation as well?
I mean, this is absolutely tragic. And you have an innocent person on a sunny day, minding their business, just traveling, and all of a sudden something like this happens, right? This could be our loved one, it could be our family members. You know, I watched that video. It's tragic. It's tough to watch. It's a tough business for our guys that were there, right? It's a loss of a human life and an innocent bystander, and it's terrible. And you know, we do our best to protect the public. That's why we're here. That's why we got into this line of work. And it's really unfortunate because we would want the same response to try to save the life of somebody if it was our family member, and we're gonna do, and we would do the same. Yeah.
Last question, like a little bit lighter note, but, you know, I think sometimes living in smaller mountain towns, people have like a false sense of safety, that they can leave their cars unlocked, they can leave their things in their car. Can you touch on that just a little bit?
This is a large geographic area with only 9,000 residents. But we often have Denver-related problems, right? Because we have big city problems because we have a major freeway that runs through our community. And we have access to Blackhawk, access up to Winter Park, access to the ski resorts. And so while the community is small, our problems are not small, right? I had said this a few weeks ago in a conversation. I think it's like 80 to 85% of our law enforcement contacts are with non-county residents. And that becomes a challenge for us as an organization because we have a very low tax base. And so in order to give us the tools and the, you know, the equipment that we need to do the job and the manpower that we need to do the job, it's hard. We don't have enough bodies. We don't have enough money for the problems that we do have and we do encounter. And, you know, I-70 is very convenient to get on and off that freeway, to come to this community, to commit crimes and to leave. But we're in the process of investing in technology as well and help us to cover more of the county.
Last question for me as well. When are you planning to release any sort of body camera footage to show or illustrate how this all went down?
Do you know?
I can take that.
If you could, yeah, because
I'll clarify a couple of the questions that came up as well. So we are checking with Colorado State Patrol because they're conducting the investigation into the crash. So we need to clear with them what we can release. We are hoping to be able to release something, but I don't know yet. We're reaching out to them for confirmation on whether we're able to. And a couple of the things I wanted to clarify. These pursuits were very brief. The first one was less than 30 seconds, less than a half mile before he went onto the interstate going the wrong direction, and that pursuit was terminated because it was too dangerous to continue. After he almost struck our deputy and almost struck ISPD patrol vehicles, then we initiated the second pursuit, which was less than 2 minutes and less than 2 miles. Very brief. And to answer a question about would we have been able to close Highway 6 to prevent traffic from entering? Certainly, but in less than 2 minutes, that's just not something that's possible. It was extremely fast, extremely fluid. One other thing I wanted to clarify, the stop stick question that Janelle asked. Pardon my voice. Our deputy was in where, and you'll see on the map, 70 East makes a curve to the right, and Highway 6 is a left exit. And in between the two, there is concrete barriers. And our deputy was in that junction at the very center of the concrete barriers between I-70 and Highway 6. And I believe his intent was to deploy the stop sticks on 70 because we wanted, Highway 6 exit ramp was blocked off by law enforcement vehicles. The suspect should not have exited that way. It was blocked by law enforcement vehicles. We wanted to keep him on 70 and we wanted to deploy the stop sticks on 70 so he would run them over. And there was virtually no traffic on 70 at the time going east. The only traffic was a few vehicles that could get on at exit 234 between the Rockscale enclosure and Highway 6. Very few vehicles. We wanted him in that safe location. And he was in the center lane, and he started to take that curve to the right on I-70. And he made a deliberate decision, and he was going very fast, to make a left instead and head right towards our deputy and right towards the patrol vehicles that were blocking that exit. So we're very fortunate that no one was injured. And then one other thing, the Microtel incidents are criminal trespasses to motor vehicles, occurred on Tuesday morning in the early hours, and our investigation was just getting started. So we were looking into surveillance, and we had suspect information from that surveillance. And it was just later that day, a few hours later, that this pursuit and this unfortunate crash occurred in that very same day. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.